Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Politics. Let's get right to it. Donald Trump will be forced to testify before the Senate or Congress in regards to the Epstein files. So imagine that. To have Donald Trump called before the Senate, um, more than likely, some of his colleagues in the Republican Party will okay the summons of Donald Trump to Senate or Congress to testify as to his knowledge and or participation with the Epstein epic parties. Let's call them that. Uh, what also needs to be thought about or asked or considered is, did Donald Trump attend any of those epic parties at the so-called or the alleged Orgy Island facility or estate? There's another name for it, a pedophile island as well, allegedly. It would come as no surprise, I think, to find out if Donald Trump had participated in any of those epic parties or gatherings. To get more clarity on this, I would like to include a clip we have that will probably break this down and give us a greater understanding of what would or could take place with Donald Trump having to report or go before the Senate or Congress to answer questions evolving or revolving around the Epstein files. So let's get into that and we'll comment after.
Screwed him on the Epstein files, and Democrats are finally taking the gloves off. This is a follow-up to some recent videos that we've done, including a recent interview with a top Democratic congressman. And I think it's safe to say that this channel, you and I, have contributed to the good news I'm about to share with you, and I'm really excited. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go.
Yes, go ahead and give them some consideration. That is Pondering Politics. This is a channel I subscribe to. I look at most of his content, and I think it's pretty good content. So yeah, this clip is courtesy of Pondering Politics. We'd like to thank them for having this or this being at our disposal.
All right, folks, I want to show you Trump's reaction to the good news, and then we'll dive into the news itself. So for context, Donald Trump is being asked about the fact that President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have agreed to answer questions, to effectively be deposed under oath about the Epstein files. They have agreed, they've conceded to allowing themselves to answer questions under oath. Take a look.
Today we heard that the Clintons set deposition dates to testify before the House Oversight Committee. Any reaction to that related to the Epstein question?
I think it's a shame, to be honest. I always liked him. Her, yeah, she's a very capable woman. She was better in debating than some of the other people, I will tell you that. She was smart woman. I hate to see it in many ways. I hate to see it, but then I look at me, they went after me like, they wanted me to go to jail for the rest of my life. Then it turned out I was innocent.
Hi, my name is Tammy, and I would like to give you a few reasons why you should consider.
So Donald Trump, of course, was the one who famously began the lock her up chants. He was the one who campaigned publicly on jailing his political opponents. Hillary Clinton didn't do that.
Right quick, I'd like to ask this question to the viewers. I think it's very important. We need to prepare ourselves for whatever circuits that may turn out to be. If and when the Clintons present themselves to the Senate or whatever committee they need to go before, will they, Bill and or Hillary, both, plead or use the Fifth Amendment as a means to not answer? I take it to be a whole lot of questions, especially evolving or concerning Bill Clinton. Will they plead the fifth? Remains to be seen.
Barack Obama didn't do that. Bill Clinton didn't do that. Kamala Harris didn't do that. Joe Biden didn't do that. Only Donald Trump in 2016, 2020, and 2024 has ever campaigned on jailing his political opponents. So number one, no sympathy for you. Number two, note where he says, oh, it's a shame. It's a shame in so many ways. Not happy about it. And he's really,
Yeah, that wasn't genuine. That was not genuine, you know.
really flattering towards the Clintons. You're thinking, that's a surprising
Right.
tone shift for Trump. Trump's always trying to make fun of the Clintons and cast aspersions on the Clintons. Why does he think it's a shame? Why does he think it's bad that former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are now being forced to testify under oath about Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, maybe because he may be sitting before whatever committee that is who's going to do the question about the Epstein files. He may be sitting before them as well. So that would probably answer that question.
Well, here's the big news. Sahil Kapoor from NBC knew after Republicans push Clintons to testify on Epstein, Democrats warn that they will haul in Trump. They call it the Comer precedent, House forcing testimony from a former president under threat of criminal prosecution. Quote, when is Trump coming? Says Representative Zoe Lofgren, member of the January 6th committee, which subpoenaed Trump, got ignored by him and took no action due to his status. Soon, Representative Moskowitz says Trump and family will be brought in, and, quote, when they're all here, they can thank James Comer for that. James Comer responds. And we're going to look at this article, but that's why Trump is freaking out, because he realizes that his allies, his Republican allies in Congress, they have now just created a precedent that can and will be used against him. Now, if you're...
I think, yeah, more so to the point, yeah, his base is starting to crumble beneath his feet. It's falling apart, you know. And I think Trump and his immediate cabinet, those administrators around him, they have to be telling him the ship looked like it's about to take on a little too much water and it may be going under.
You're wondering where you've heard that before. Well, you heard it from me. So I want to play you a segment of my recent interview with Democratic Congressman Garcia, Robert Garcia, the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, James Comer's committee, the committee that will be forcing former President Clinton to testify. Remember what I asked him. I do have a specific question, though, related to the Epstein files, and I've been shouting about it on Twitter and in my content. So Republicans are forcing, and I think they did pass, correct me if I'm wrong, a contempt vote for President Clinton and Secretary Clinton regarding their testimony for the Epstein files. Now, full cards on the table, I have no problem forcing the Clintons to testify and answer questions about Jeffrey Epstein. But here's my question. Aren't the Republicans creating a precedent, holding a former president, in contempt, forcing them to answer questions under oath? And wouldn't that precedent apply to Donald Trump on January 20th, 12/01/2029? And would there be anything preventing a Democratic president and, let's say, a chairman, Robert Garcia, from putting Donald Trump's ass in that same chair and forcing him to answer all sorts of uncomfortable questions about Jeffrey Epstein, the Epstein files, January 6th, and his corruption?
Oh, so then they probably won't be able to. We may not see Trump testifying about this until January 20th, 2029. What? That don't sound right. Maybe I got something wrong in that.
100%. I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, I think that there is, I think, a high probability that we're headed in that direction. I mean, the reality is that they've broken every single norm. And as it relates to Bill Clinton, I've said from day one, we want to hear from President Clinton. We want him to testify. I think it's interesting that Republicans only want to hear from Donald Trump's political enemies and are uninterested in hearing from other folks. We've got to push, for example, like to get Ghislaine Maxwell or to get other Epstein co-conspirators to testify, or to get basic information from Pam Bondi. They want to hold Bill Clinton in contempt. Our answer is, why not Pam Bondi, who's actually breaking the law every single day and blocking the release of the files? I mean, even President Clinton has said very publicly, release all the files. Every piece of any document or photo with me in it, I want it released. We agree. But why have only 1% of the files been released? That's on Pam Bondi. She should be held in contempt. And certainly we have a lot of questions for Donald Trump, of course, when he leaves the presidency. We have them now, but you can bet we're going to have a bunch after his term's up as well.
Okay, so I'm correct. Well, if it comes to that, Donald Trump being questioned about the Epstein files, it will be long after probably his term ends. His term ends in what, 20, this is 26 or 7 to 8, what, about 28? Well, 29, that is correct. Can't wait to, can't wait for them to get to that. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's extremely important. It's the one thing that I wish more Democratic members of Congress were talking about, because as I'm sure you're aware, and this is part of the reason I think that you ascended to this position, is the Democratic base wants fighters. They want fighters. You don't have to be as ruthless or as cruel as MAGA, but the Republican Party already struggles with the Democratic Party that's very much a turn the other cheek sort of thing. So if you dial up the ruthlessness about 20%, I think they'd be in serious trouble. And telling James Comer that, hey, if you put Bill Clinton's ass in that chair, we support it. But understand, you are warming that seat for Donald Trump on January 20th, 12:01 p.m., 2029. I think the base wants to hear that publicly, knowing that you will ruthlessly assert that power against corrupt Republicans like Pam Bondi, like Donald Trump and others. So that's good to hear. It is good to hear. I'm laughing because I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt. Same shirt. That's funny. Yeah, that guy was pretty smart. And I'm glad to hear Congressman Garcia echo that sentiment. That was, last week. That was a week ago today. And this article that we're about to take a look at, now all the Democrats are repeating what I have been publicly begging Democrats to do. And as far as I'm aware, I'm the only Democrat, the only prominent Democratic commentator to be publicly, relentlessly pushing for this. So I'm not saying it's all because of us, folks. I'm not saying it's all because of you and me here at Pondering Politics, but I am going to take a little bit of the credit here, and I think you should too. We pushed the congressmen and the Democrats to make this ruthless choice. So let's look into this, because now they're running with it. After Republicans pushed Clintons to testify on Epstein, Democrats warned they'll haul in Trump. Democrats say Republicans have set a precedent with subpoenas of an ex-president and the First Lady. Quote, we will follow it. Donald Trump, all of his kids, everybody, said Representative Maxwell Frost.
This is why you should not get dental implants during the holidays.
So, facing the threat of being held in contempt by Congress, Bill and Hillary Clinton agreed Tuesday to testify before the House Oversight Committee about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Democrats now say Republicans have established a precedent when it comes to Congress's ability to subpoena and haul in past presidents, first ladies, and family members under threat of criminal charges if they refuse, a precedent they warned the GOP and House Oversight Chairman James Comer will soon regret. But we are absolutely going to have Donald Trump testify under oath when Democrats take back power, said California Representative Ted Lieu, a member of the Democratic leadership who for years has been highlighting Trump's ties to Epstein. Quote, it is a big deal, added Representative Steny Hoyer, a former House Majority Leader who is retiring after serving more than 45 years in the chamber. Quote, and be interesting to see what former President Trump thinks about that premise.
Let me jump in here. I just had a thought that, who do you think on either side of the aisle, Republican or Democrat, has frequented Epstein's epic parties and his island the most? That's a thought that just hit me. More Democrats participated or more Republicans? I can't wait to find out the answer to that.
Maxwell Frost, a young progressive who serves on the House Oversight panel, said Democrats 100%, quote, 100% will take advantage of the precedent set by Republicans. Quote, it does set a precedent and we will follow it. Donald Trump, all of his kids, everybody, Frost said. Representative Mark Pocan, a Democrat from Wisconsin, chair emeritus of the Progressive Caucus, agreed with his colleagues. Quote, this will make Donald Trump happy in the short term, but in the long term, a year from now, we have subpoena power. He warned, quote, what goes around comes around.
That's what they say.
Jared Moskowitz, an oversight committee member known for his frequent on-camera clashes with Comer, said the chairman is sealing his legacy, and he won't like what comes next when Democrats take control of the House and his committees on oversight, banking, and judiciary. Quote, the folks here are going to run with it everywhere. It will be crypto. It'll be their business. It'll be all the investments in the Middle East. It'll be the Qatari plane. It's going to be the latest thing with UAE. It's going to be all of it, Moskowitz added. Quote, all of it.
Wow. Yeah, I think that may be a bad precedent for the Republicans to allow to call or want to have Bill and Hillary Clinton sitting before that committee, because again, yeah, it opens up not just doors, but it could possibly open Pandora's box for a lot of Republicans, and let's be fair, Democrats as well. Bad precedent to set.
Love it. They're giving a license to these new chairmen in January, and that will be Comer's legacy. So when Don Jr. and Eric and their children, not because I want this to happen, because I don't want it to happen, but when they're all here, they can thank James Comer for that, end quote. The House was set to move forward this week with a vote to hold the Clintons in contempt of Congress after they refused to comply with a subpoena for their testimony in the panel's Epstein investigation. The vote was expected to be bipartisan, with some Democrats saying they would vote alongside the Republicans.
Well, now, one thing is for sure, there's going to be a whole lot of news to report. Mainstream media for sure will. They will probably only give us some of what they're dictated to give us, not the good stuff, just the bits and pieces, a little bit here and a little bit there, but nothing of any real significance. However, because it is politics and most of this stuff is documented, social media will be abuzz with this information. Can't wait for this to drop. Looking forward to it, to be quite honest. That being said, we like to thank all our viewers, and we ask that you like, share, comment, and please subscribe to this channel. Your support of it, your viewership will be greatly appreciated. This is All Things Politics. Take care of yourself and each other.